somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach you and communicate with you all over the globe. But we come to you from the beautiful federation of two islands, one lovely paradise. It's called St. Kitts and Nevis. So I am duty bound to say a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis, And I extend that throughout the entire Caribbean region, all the way down south in Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, we go on to the South American mainland, touch Guyana. We also reach and touch Venezuela. Hearing some things about Venezuela not sounding real good, but another time for that. And we can come down to Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat. Trust that Montserrat is doing well. Haven't heard from Montserrat in a long time. But we go west to St. Eustatia, Sabre, St. Bartholomew, St. Barsicolet, St. Martin, Anguilla, the BVI, Virgin Gorda and Negada, the USVI up St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. How is Puerto Rico tonight? But wherever you are in the globe, especially in the Caucasian and Division and Caribbean diaspora, some of you are in Africa, there are some of you in Europe, and there are some of you in Asia. There are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and I'm at liberty as well to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And we do normally have first-timers, so let me hasten to welcome our first-timers, and in the process thank all those who continue to share the link, because when you do so, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expressions or expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. You have an opportunity to express yourselves on any one of those issues freely. But on this program, we try as well to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And I always pledge at the beginning of every program to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. My Straight Talk family. And I want to inform you as well, remind you and reconfirm that Straight Talk is not about sensationalism. We're not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we always try to lean on the facts. And it's my duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, and integrity, no matter where we are in this world. We promote that always. Because on this program, we are joined together with people across the Federation. On this program, we are joined together with people across the world, all around the world, the diaspora, all around the world. Some we know, some we have never met, some we do not know, have never met physically. But it matters not. And some will agree with the positions of truth that we advance on this program. And some will disagree And that's fine, but what will create some concerns for me if we ever start to become disagreeable, my street dog family. Well, let's thank Almighty God for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let's therefore pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link, and welcome in particular to the first timers. Please don't let this be your last time. If you have an issue with what is said on the program, what we espouse, say it. Just tell me. If it's you like what you hear, then tell the whole wide world. If you do not like what you hear, you are free to tell me. And I'll always remind you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and we do include your emails. If you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. The email address, for those who like the cloak of anonymity, I call it, is also on your screen. It's Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, at gmail.com. Some of you as well have the Alexa app, and we give you access as well via Alexa, thanks to my brother, I call him, over yonder. And all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. We get access at a nominal cost. And as we say, talk about costs, there are some of you who have made donations to support our efforts here on Street Talk. Don't you stop. But I must say thank you. For those who have not made donations, I trust that someday you'll feel moved to do so. No matter how small it is, believe me, it would help to continue this important service. So those others who wish to donate, the code is on your screen. Very simple process. Just scan that code, and in a few minutes, you follow the instructions, then I'll be able to say thank you for your support. But thanks again for those who have supported and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. Somebody told me about my young brigade, but if I don't hail my young brigade, I'll be in trouble. I met a young lady as well on Saturday. Didn't clear with her mom if I can call her name, but she know who I'm speaking with. Young lady who wanted to meet me, and she made me feel so humble. I'm always humble, but I was even more humiliated because she used these words, "Keep it up, Patches," coming from a young lady. So I hail young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar. I saw Kevin's mother from Nevis a few days ago. I asked her to hail Kevin for me. She assured me he's doing well in school. Young Rue in South Carolina. Hope your granny is okay. Jamal in Anguilla, Travis and Trevon. Upon the extension, haven't seen them for a bit. Saw Shamar sometime last week. Neymar is my grandson and his dear friend Soraya. I won't hear the end of it if I don't hail them tonight. Just you are up and about. And to that special lady in St. Louis. What about the Texas Queen as well? And for those who have lost loved ones, we extend our condolences. I haven't been updated on those who have lost loved ones, but some people have lost loved ones, I know. And we want to extend our condolences and just to remind you that death is a process. And we usually begin with our observations in review, which is an integral part of this program. Then we move into our thesis. And following our thesis, we will include your calls, as I mentioned earlier, and your emails, and allow your full participation. Yes, on Straight Talk, you do have an opportunity. You do get an opportunity, I should say, to have your say. And my first observation and my thesis, let me first inform you. I have titled tonight, All Fish Rot from the Head Down. And I'm speaking as someone who was born in the Fish Bay. Down Newtown, we call it Fish Bay. Yes, and we've learned that all fish rot from the head. Some people say all fish stink from the head. So don't change the platform. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Alexa. And news coming out of the Ministry of Health on the weekend revealed that Dr. Shubakar, I think it is, Kara Paul, forensic pathologist at the Forensic Sciences Center in Barbados, visited St. Kitts and Nevis during the course of last week. And while in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Paul, forensic expert, conducted the autopsy report on, the news said 21 individuals. I thought it, in fact, was 20 or 16 individuals or bodies that were found in that boat floating within our territorial waters. But these are not individuals, but dead bodies, I should say, were discovered aboard that vessel in St. Kitts and Nevis waters since January 29th, 2025. And I managed to see the National Security Advisor, Lionel Rollins, pictured with the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wimpy Martin. And every time I see Wimpy Martin, my body cringes, because I'm reminded each time that he is the accounting officer in the Ministry of Health. And I'm forced to recall every time I see him, I'll never forget this. Every time I see Wimpy Martin, I remember that he turned our parliament into a useless instrument. So I am worried what he will do now in health. But we understand that discussions were held in relation to the expansion of storage at the morgue, as these bodies were held at first, we are reliably informed, at Jenkins Funeral Home, which got stretched for capacity, and some were later moved to other funeral homes. But remember as well that there were many issues raised earlier in terms of the morgue. And I remember the Minister of Health had this to say, my Straight Talk family.
Remember some months ago they got put out that the morgue mix up two patients. Well, I'm not saying that they are not issues, but issues, yes. But I'm not saying they are not issues. They are issues, and there'll always be issues. I don't care which hospital it is, because you're dealing with human life.
So my Straight Talk family, discussions, as we were informed by SKNIS, were held in relation to storage. But in the meantime, Straight Talk will await further advice from Commissioner of Police, James Sutton, with regards or with respect to the disposal of the dead bodies. Straight Talk would also like to remind Director of Public Prosecution Adlai Smith that the country is still awaiting his ultimate findings regarding the killing of young Dr. Simonette Williams. Unless I missed that, we have not heard from our DPP for several weeks now. The last thing he told the nation was a few weeks ago, in late February this year. The last thing he told us was this.
I wish also to provide an update on the investigation into the tragic death of Dr. Simoneth Williams, which occurred as a result of a traffic accident in December of 2024. The case remains under active investigation, and I have received the official autopsy report, which is now under careful review by myself and the non-resident accident reconstruction expert who was assigned to this case. Additionally, I'm currently in discussions with the said expert who has requested further information to complete his careful analysis. That information is in the process of being supplied to ensure a comprehensive assessment of the circumstances surrounding this incident. I encourage the public to remain patient as this intricate and sensitive investigation progresses. Resolving this matter would have been more straightforward had additional members of the public come forward with pertinent information. The circumstances surrounding Dr. Williams' passing necessitate a careful and comprehensive examination, and I will ensure that all available and relevant evidence is fully considered before making any determinations.
My Street Talk family, unless we missed it, we have not heard anything further from DPP Adlai Smith. And our third observation, I must state that in today's world, the way some countries use their geographic advantages or limitations to exert influence, secure their interests, and at times navigate their relationships with other countries, is keeping leaders in the different regions of this world on edge. Is a term I believe I can get away with when we consider all of the foregoing, to put it in one word, when we consider the geopolitics in the world. Some blame the Trump card, or Trump for the card he holds in his hands. Having won a landslide victory at the last polls in the United States, he returned to the Oval Office with one intention, as he would say, to make America great again, MAGA. As promises Saturday's deportations, his increased tariffs, some in whole, then he comes back and he speaks about reciprocity. But no region has been spared by President Trump. Bordering neighbors like Canada and Mexico have been threatened. So too backyard neighbors like us here in the Caribbean. We too will face the wrath of Donald Trump. For us, the issue of our long-standing relations with Cuba and the medical help assistance ships, I call it, has all of a sudden raised its ugly diplomatic head, prompting responses from several of our leaders. Prime Minister Deacon Michel had this to say in response to the threats coming from the Secretary of State of the United States of America.
I think from our perspective, we are clear that we have a legitimate partnership with the people and government of Cuba, who have over several decades provided support to Grenada in the medical field. And I think we know what the realities are with our health challenges in Grenada. particularly for specialist doctors. And so from our perspective, we are clear that the partnership that we have with Cuba is legitimate, and we will continue to support and defend the partnership.
We also heard from the elder Prime Minister, I call him, Comrade Ralph Gonzalez. And Ralph made his preference quite clear in response to the threats coming from the Secretary of State. And Ralph Gonzalez had this to say.
When this thing came out, and that toward countries which may be complicit in what they call exploitation of Cuban professionals, and that they will deal with them with visas. They started, well, Ralph and Eloise will lose their visa. Strangely, they credited me because they know that I will prefer to lose my visa than to have 60 poor and working people die.
That's the preference clearly outlined by Comrade Ralph Gonzalez, President of Prime Minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit of Dominica was a little more optimistic, and he said this.
I think it's a matter for us to clarify the matter with the State Department and the U.S. government. I mean, everybody understands how important the Cuban program has been and continues to be for many countries in the world, the Caribbean including. I do not believe that any health system, public health system in the Caribbean can survive without the support of the medical personnel from Cuba. So it's a matter for us to engage and to seek clarifications. I have no doubt that common sense will prevail.
Common sense, Skerrit suggests, will prevail in his mood of optimism. I didn't get the sense that our leader, Prime Minister Terence Michael July, who is a Cuban-trained doctor, I just did not get the sense that he would stand firm for his what I call alma mater country. His Minister of Foreign Affairs, Denzel Douglas, the senior minister and former Prime Minister, tried, but we have to be cautious. The United States Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, announced restrictions on visas for both government officials in Cuba and any others worldwide who are, to use his term, complicit with their overseas medical assistance programs. Marco Rubio, son of a Cuban immigrant, did not mince words about his other homeland, Cuba. And Rubio, when he had this to say.
The final question, and I think it's a very good place to answer. Do you see yourself as the representative of the United States government ever going to Havana?
Well, first of all, I have no intention of going to Havana with this regime in place other than to discuss when they're going to leave. That regime is a disaster. It's destroyed the country. It's turning Cuba into a nursing home. Sadly, the only people that don't leave are the ones that are too old or too sick to leave. They've lost 10-12% of their population just in the last 3 years. They're incompetent and they're evil, that regime. And they're also a threat to the United States. They've invited China to open spy bases. They invite Russia in. They're partners with Iran. They just joined a partnership with South Africa to support Hamas at the expense of Israel. That isn't a government. That is a regime that is hostile to the United States. And so until that changes, there's nothing for me to talk about with them.
That's your dog family. Turning Cuba into a nursing home, Rubio said. He called Cuba evil. But Terence Michael July and his Minister of Foreign Affairs, and all of us, must take his threats seriously. And those are my observations in review for tonight. And I'll move right into my thesis, my Straight Talk family, which, as I said earlier, I have titled Every Fish, or All Fish, beg your pardon, rot from the head down. And in our episode, beg your pardon, of last Thursday, March the 6th, we debated, for those of you who listened, the topic Palaces for Kings, not for ECCB governor. And we use as our point of departure the content of a letter penned by the most senior prime minister within the ECCU region, comrade leader Ralph Gonsalves. Letter he dated 17th February was written under the caption, "A veritable palace for Eastern Caribbean Bank Governor." But since our discussion on the said topic, my Straight Talk family, many pundits, many luminaries have weighed in on the matter, including well-known Grenadian lawyer Anselm Clouden, who supported the views of Comrade Ralph. He said this:
I want to endorse and adopt the revulsion and utter despicable actions as expressed by the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves. Thank God he's still around to at least give some supreme guidance to the conduct of such persons when they fall out of line. He's in that tradition, and I wish to adopt his recommendation, having regard to all the surrounding circumstances, that the governor of the bank should tender his resignation.
Many have called for the resignation of the governor of the central bank, yes. It has also been widely reported that seasoned members on the ECCB Monetary Council, including Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown, had come to the defense of Governor Antoine. And forgive me for not having downloaded his comments. But in a nutshell, he said that they were caught flat-footed, meaning the Monetary Council. But two things mentioned by Gaston Brown ought to have caught our attention. One, he said the Monetary Council was caught flat-footed. You can see all the entire council that last met in February here at the 110th meeting of the ECCB Monetary Council. And they do look flat-footed, yes, don't they? But on the second point, my Straight Talk family, we ask ourselves the question, at the level of the directorship, we must ask, to what extent did the board know? What extent them have known, and how much money was spent, my Straight Talk family? And this is the board of the directors of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. As you can look at our screens, my Straight Talk family, representation on the board from Anguilla, Kathleen Rogers, from the Commonwealth of Dominica, Denise Edwards, From Antigua and Barbuda, Whitfield Edwards Jr., Deputy Governor Dr. Valda Henry. From Montserrat, John Skerritt. Francis Fontenelle of St. Lucia, Edmund Jackson of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mike Sylvester of Grenada, our own Hilary Hazel of St. Kitts and Nevis, and you will also gather from your screen that Timothy Antoine, in fact, the governor, is the chairman of the board. Some say that's a very odd situation, as he ought to be ex officio officer of the board, but not certain if that, I'll argue that point. But let's agree, though, with Gaston Brown that the council was caught flat-footed, meaning that the ECCB governor, for some unjustifiable reason, did not report a $22 million expenditure amount on a 10,000 square foot mansion to be used as his residence. But are we to understand that as chairman of the board, he hid that exorbitant expenditure from even the board, my straight dog family? But can we believe any of them, any of the members of the council? Because there ought to be minutes of the meetings, don't you think, my straight dog family? Don't you think?
The most important step I suggest ought to be taken now is an investigation into the minutes of the meeting of the council that would have endorsed such a lavish residence at the expense of each and every taxpayer of the subscribing states within the ECCB. There's no dispute that we need a suitable residence for the governor of the bank, but not a residence that exceeds the ambit of reasonable appropriation of the region's money.
So my straight dog family, if the board or the minutes did not reflect that exorbitant expenditure, was it being hidden? And by whom? And if it is accurate, though, that the board and the council were all caught flat-footed, for the government, or for the governor, beg your pardon, and chairman of the board to conceal, to hide this information from some, but not all directors. But whatever he did, we can only conclude that every fish rots from the head down. Our Prime Minister, for example, Terence Michael July, resides at Beacon Heights, about 40 or 50 yards from the construction site of this palace. And many found it strange that he did not know about this $22 million squandermania of public money. It's our money. All the members of the ECCU region, we allow them to invest it. We allow them to make profit from it and pay our countries, our people, dividends. And Prime Minister Terence Michael July waffled. Trust me, he waffled when he tried to respond to a question on this palace. And I said, oh, what a man. He said this, my Straight Talk family.
With respect to what you speak about, with respect to the residents, let me say first of all that the central bank, the Monetary Council has a chairperson. The chairperson for the Monetary Council would, speak to issues during their cycle when those issues come up. And so any decisions made is made collectively with all the countries presented to the people of the region. Not just St. Kitts and Nevis, to the people of the region. And so I think that they are in a process of making sure that they continue their process of transparency and integrity, and that information that is being sought will be, of course, collected and be given to the people of the region. Let me say, with respect to that, I myself would seek to, I'm seeking to get whatever information, as with anything else that has to do with the central bank.
What information he will seek to get, my Straight Talk family? Well, if Prime Minister July cannot tell us as a people, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, about the construction of the palace for the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank governor, then he must be able to tell us about the land on which it is being constructed. He ought to be able to tell us, my Straight Talk family, about this land. Because this letter, written to the Social Security Board in September of 2022, just when he got into office, and you would, if you follow the events in chronological order, you will recognize that once July got into office in August of 2022, suddenly the price ballooned to $22 million, from 7 to 13 to 22. And when you see the players, my Straight Talk family, when you see the 4 players in what seems like a game of Monopoly, you'll ask yourselves many other questions. And this is a letter on behalf of Mitchell Gums, of Gums and Associates, ones who had exclusive or was given exclusive marketing rights on the Beacon Heights projects. And look at that last paragraph on the first page, my Straight Talk family. After successfully marketing the development to the governor, and on advice of Gums and Associates, the governor reached out to the board through its then director, resulting in the advantageous sale of 6 lots. 6 lots of land for the palace. And he's claiming commissions in the amount of $342,640, my Straight Talk family. $342,000, beg your pardon. $640. And you can also understand from the letter that it was copied to Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, Minister with responsibility for the St. Christopher and Nevis Social Security Board. It says it was hand-delivered to Dr. Drew. But my Straight Talk family, If July cannot tell us about the construction, which is just a stone throw from where he lives, then he ought to be able to tell us about the land. Was there exceptional approval by him as Minister of Social Security? Is the question we ask Terence Michael July. Look, the fallout as well. There's a fallout right now with housing. Since July cannot tell us about the Social Security matters and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank matters, can you tell us about this, my Sweet Dog family?
As you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
But who has lost money? Slow student Jeffrey Hanley. Scandal around this government every time you turn, every day. We've heard that Brian Singh has disappeared. Government gave East Coast Housing Development a guarantee for $650 million, my Street Dog family, to construct 2,400 or 2,400 homes over 4 years. 600 per year. But Jeffrey, where you find a loss, if you don't find a loss, then you have a gain. In accounts they call it profit and loss. So who gained, Jeffrey Hanley? Who made profit? Why is it all of a sudden Brian Singh has disappeared, the project has stopped, and you come to tell us now that AG is looking at the best interests and we have not lost anything, the government has lost anything? Then who has gained? If government has not lost, if there's no loss, then where is the gain? I ask the question. But you see, my Straight Dog family, these leaders in government in St. Kitts and Nevis today appear to be more focused on accumulating power, wealth, or influence at the expense of fairness or long-term benefits for the broader group or broader society, for us, the poor people. The hint we have been given from day one by Dr. July or by the July's administration is that the system or environment in which they are operating in is like a game where the rules are tilted in favor of a few people, my Straight Dog family. Look at the R.L. Bradshaw Museum. It all started. Remember, the Robert Bradshaw Llewellyn Museum, my Straight Dog family. It all started with a few players. Some common names you'll find. Lennox Warner and Partners. Williams Architectural, Victor Williams. And Terence July. Those names are common. When you look at my Straight Dog family, what's happening at that site? Nothing. $5 or $6 million spent, and work has just been abandoned. And Dr. July ought to come and tell us about the museum and where the money gone. The game of Monopoly started, my Straight Dog family. It started for Prime Minister July and Cashley Allers with 1,000 tanks, water tanks, and $5.8 million. And no one has accounted for these tanks. Till this day as we speak, there's some people, my Straight Dog family, who have not received a tank. And we ask ourselves the question, where has all that money gone? My Straight Dog family, the actions of this new July administration have been shrouded in so much secrecy, characterized by a distinct lack of transparency and accountability. And my Straight Dog family, this approach raises significant concerns, as it often points to an underlying culture of corruption. Corruption, my Straight Dog family. And in such an environment, the leader, Terence Michael July, must be held responsible. His poor and questionable leadership directly influences the integrity of the entire administration. Can't tell us about the central bank, governor's residence, $22 million. And let me suggest, my Straight Dog family, if Dr. July believes he can keep quiet, and as Comrade Ralph says, the government of St. Kitts should buy the property, if we ever hear that, we will go up to Beacon Heights and camp out at the gates, lie flat at the gates, all of us. Let them arrest all of us. We have to get radical now, my Straight Dog family. Enough is enough. The absence of openness and scrutiny leaves room for misconduct, fueling public distrust and frustration. And as a result, my Straight Dog family, we must, underline, we must question whether opacity, whether the lack of transparency, yes, is a sign of deeper systemic issues within this administration. And all the arrows, I dare say, are pointing at Terence Michael July, because all fish rot from the head. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, and I'll do so momentarily, I anticipate that we will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, we must first respect ourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And my Straight Dog family, let's ensure the things we say and or do. Let us try to build, as I said, better relationships. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 5 before the 9 o'clock hour, I go straight to the lines, my Straight Dog family, and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good night. Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear.
the quotation. Power does not corrupt men. Fools, however, if they get into a position of power, corrupt power. I repeat, power does not corrupt men. Fools, however, if they get into a position of power, corrupt power.
Get into a position of power. Corrupt power.
Power does not corrupt men. Fools, however, if they get into a position of power, corrupt power.
Thank you very much, as usual, for you.
Have a great evening.
Your quotations. My Straight Dog family, thanks as well. You have yourself a great evening as well. Power does not corrupt men. Fools, however, if they get into power, corrupt power. Very interesting perspective. Yes, my lines are open, my Straight Dog family. We are entertaining your calls, and we'll also look at the emails. I have to find a way to what's the right word I'm looking for, but at least get them, do them simultaneously. That's just much easier, my Straight Dog family. And at the same time, ensure we take your calls and don't have you waiting too long on the lines. If you just join me, we are looking at our theme for tonight, our thesis for tonight, all fish rot from the head down. Let's go back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Call you live.
Hi, Patches. Good night, Marsha here. Good night.
Hello, Marsha. Good night. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm blessed and moving on.
Good to hear you.
Patches, I want to take a time out and tell you that this Straight Talk has been listening. People have been listening Straight Talk in the entire world, right? And I want to commend you. I want to commend you and tell you to keep up the good work what you're doing. Now, Patches, let me get on to my topic tonight. Patches, prayer alone cannot help saying. And Nevis is in a mess. It seems as though a demon is over saying it. Well, people lie very much. All kind of wickedness, etc., etc. Imagine, Patches, I just get home from down the road, right? When I reach home, a vehicle park up in the middle of the road. I blow my horn, I flip my lights. The driver wouldn't move. I had to call the police a while ago. When the police came here, the individual for the vehicle, and I'm going to call his name. I don't know if he work by the custom department. He hoisted up his shot to show me his gun. And more after, the fiancé for the individual come out using a lot of bad word, swing a lot of bad word after the police, saying it is not real. We need prayer. Saying it. This place is not a real place. I wonder if those the boat with those demons, them dead bodies, is that they bring this lying spelling saying it. Because saying it have some liars, some white criminal liars, all of people that tell lies, young, old, middle age, lies, this lying demon in saying it. They had sometimes they had some prayer going around and that cannot help. Okay, let me move on to my second point, Patches. Okay.
You're close to your equipment, Marsha?
Oh yeah, sorry. Hold on, me lock up because this point is very important.
I want the whole world to hear you.
Patches, sorry about that.
That's much better, thank you. Why want the whole world to hear you?
Okay, and now Patches now. And next thing again.
Mm-hmm.
People in St. Kitts need to be innovative. They need to be innovative and stop try to bring down one another and try to compete with one another. Right? I want to know if I have a store. Don't come watch me and say, oh, Marsha got a store because Marsha got a store. I could get a store too. God bring people on this face of the earth, not for everybody to have things. Some people gonna have more than some, and we don't have to grudge nobody. But it seems as though St. Kitts people having this world, this particular St. Kitts, having a lot of grudging people and a lot of wicked people. And prayer the other day, and prayer cannot help. I don't know what can help. I was wondering if those dead bodies were coming on the boat the other day, a couple months ago. I wonder if they're bringing a lying demon in St. Kitts, because people is very lie. From the top to the bottom, there is very lie. A lying demon in St. Kitts, so we need to pray against this lying demon, because they have white collar liars, different, all kind of liars you can talk about. And then next thing again, Patches, somebody met me in town today, and they are complaining why they are sending home people at 62, 60, 56, 57, 50 years. This thing must stop, because some of the ministers of government is very well stricken in age. They are well stricken in age. So this kind of victimization, what they're doing to the people in St. Kitts, because a woman called me tonight crying, and says, God, I don't have to tell lies. They need to stop victimizing, and they're doing it smartly. Anybody wrong Timothy Harris, they victimize them. I don't say that if somebody have a big position, like a PS, and you come in and you don't want a PS for agriculture and a PS for national security, you change them fine. You move them out and you send them in the next department. But don't send home people. And that's not like God don't like those things. But pedo will come. Pedo will come. And God is going to fix the situation, Patrice. Because God don't like these kind of things. Because everybody must eat. And once again, I must say that the government, when we vote for a government, when we vote for ministers of government, whether you are PAM, you are PLP, you are Labour, you are NRP, you are CCM, the whole federation vote for them. And they put them there to work for you. Work for you, work for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, not work for Labour alone. Okay. Work for PLP, work for NRP, work for CCM, work for PAM, and wherever the party might be. And that is my 2 pence tonight. People need to stop victimizing.
Thank you.
People need to stop victimizing, Patches. Patches, once again, thank you for listening. And I want to say good night to all my people out in the diaspora. And I want to say good night to all my listeners. Patches, today, as I want my last thing, I went in someone. Everybody commended me and say, hold the fort. Hold the fort. Because when I come here, I don't talk fiction, I talk facts.
Okay.
I talk facts. I go out in the highway and the byways and I listen and I see and I do whatever. But Patrick, I'm going to call Patrick. I'm going to hold on a while for see if anybody going to call back in. And I have a next important matter to touch. So I'll call you back, Patrick. Have a good night so far.
Have a good night as well. Always welcome your contributions. Always so passionate, my dear family. Marsha. And I thank this caller for holding caller. You are live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
How is it? You have your equipment on, my brother, do you?
Hold on. Mr. Straight Talk.
Yes, I want the whole world to hear you.
My brother Straight Talk, how are you?
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Good to hear you, my brother.
How are you, my brother?
I am peaceful. What about yourself? I am peaceful.
What can I say, man? So far, so good. All is well. It's going good. It's going good. God is still on his throne and everything is going good. I thank you for what you have done there. I listened to your program there on Thursday and I couldn't believe what I'm hearing. How could them have a meeting and they don't know what will come from that meeting that man belong? I would never understand it. That mansion in St. It's going to cost $20-something million.
Believe it or not, yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. How could he take up all that money that just somebody they have to sign up on that thing?
Of course.
Yes, they have to sign. They have to. So when Gaston Brown gonna say they was caught flat-footed, what flat-footed come out and say what was done? You don't have to say you was caught in the middle. Just come out and say, listen, what was done now was wrong. Oh, we were caught flat-footed. So that means something, what they did, they're not sure what they did. What they did, they saw it, but then he did something else. Because there's no way in their right mind that they're going to sign up on this thing for $20-something million.
Of course not.
Saying will be damn. That's a hotel.
Yep.
That's a hotel. Anyway, that's enough. Let me just say good night to my wonderful people, my brother Alvin and his son there in Bellevue and my friend Lloyda. Oh, good night to those boys there at the garage in the Bronx. I tell Botis for me I cannot, my phone went down, so I don't have no number for him, so can he give me a call? And my wonderful brother there, Ellis, there in Lodge. And my brother Culture. I just want you guys to take care of yourself, of my niece Abby and Johnny, and my wonderful, lovely niece there, St. Louis and Texas Queen. How are you? My brother, straight up, I will never understand how St. Kitts come to get such a big mansion. I mean, this thing is bigger than the Prime Minister mansion.
He closes his eye to it because he probably trying to build a bigger one too.
But St. Kitts a mover.
It's right next to the Prime Minister.
What?
Yes.
Man, when I come, but somebody was saying that this house have been bulletproof. The windows are bulletproof and everything. But what the governor expect? What he ordered, so he want bulletproof windows. How could it do? I have no idea. I will never understand it, my brother. But hey, you know. Can't Marsha, Penny gonna come.
Yes, my dear. All right, thanks a lot.
Penny gonna come. My brother, straight up, I thank you for what you have done. You let us know what's going on with those dead bodies. Understand? And you hear what it's amazing, all this thing going on in that country, and nobody has said nothing. The Prime Minister, the police commissioner, nobody says nothing.
Nothing at all. Yes.
Everybody sit down flat. Can't do Justin Brown. We caught it, we were caught flat-footed. That's all I can say. But I thank God for you that you ain't caught flat-footed. You caught with your foot down and you do what you gotta do.
Yes.
That's all I thank God for, because if it wasn't for you, understand? We wouldn't go to hear all this thing, because they might just attack in the Holy Cup. Then I come out and say, well, listen, this year wrong, this year wrong. But you let us know what's going on wrong. Mr. Straight Talk, I thank you for your service. Just continue to do what you got to do. I'll see you when I see you. See you soon. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra, my dear brother. Yes, my Straight Talk family. It's 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. And yes, my dear brother, you're also correct. I misused that word. I did say, you said it was the wrong word, and you're correct. And that's what Straight Talk is all about. Each one teach one. You know, I was humbled instead. I said humiliated. I used both, but I did say humiliated. But yes, you are so correct. But let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding caller your life. Hello, caller.
How are you?
I am peaceful. This is the major? This sounds like the major.
Yeah.
How is the major tonight? How is the
well,
major?
boy, I'm thanking God for life.
Yo.
I just want to ask you two questions, Patty. I want to ask you two questions. Listen to the first one. Has your heart ever been broken?
Yes, and I happy it happened when I was a young boy, very young boy.
Yes. Okay. So what broke it?
I think you can consider me an adolescent. That's how far back it was, you know.
So
I can't tell you.
Your heart was broken when you was a young boy.
Oh yes. I can't tell you what I saw.
You see, you told me what broke your heart as a young man, a convalescent. Yeah. You see, what I find. You see, my heart was broken.
Yes.
My heart was broken too.
It was, yes.
My heart was unfaithfulness.
Unfaithfulness. Okay.
Yeah. Loss. You know, my mother dead. And my brother dead.
Okay.
So therefore, what has happened, and because of that, and maybe I had to go in darkness to cry, ain't it? I had to go in darkness to cry. You see? And but you know, to a fact that once you cry, crying is good, you know.
Yes, good.
Crying is good.
Good therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, good therapy.
Why it is good? Why crying is good, Patches? Because the tears they are only to cure for weeping. It's cure from your weeping, ain't it? You see, you're afraid I don't want to see. I ain't want you to see me cry. So I go in a dark corner and cry. And because of that, you remembered that even Jesus cried because he wept at his good friend Lazarus' grave, isn't it?
Yes, Jesus wept. Yes.
Yes, he liked that Lazarus' grave. So therefore, the things that the thing that is bothering me is some of the things is happening, man. And my heart is getting broken, man. My heart is getting broken. Because listen to what he spoke about this building here. From $11 million to $22 million.
Yes.
So who paying for that? Who paying for that?
I hope the people won't have to pay for it.
Oh, that's a boy. But hope is a waking dream. You know? You ever heard about it? Hope is a waking dream, and I learned that very quickly. Everything. I hope that you're going to do this. I hope you're going to do that, and you hope to do that. And the end of the day, not happen. So it is a waking dream.
Yes, my.
You see, and we have to be careful about that. We have to be careful about that, Patches. And that is why I say that to be unfaithful, you must have a broken heart. So I hope that nobody, well, we couldn't see what's going on, you know, but we're just watching it to see as an old soldier because we had to use delayed tactics.
Yes. Yes, Major. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, you take it.
Intervention, Major.
Yes.
Fallout, Major. Fallout.
Okay.
That's Major Jones. Always look forward for his contributions. And I'll take this email while if that caller can hold for me just a few seconds. I'll try to intermingle with the emails as well. Don't you go any place, caller. Patches, good evening. Read this email. I trust and hope that all is well with you. I just want to thank you for shedding light on all the injustices that have been happening in our country. Now, Patches, we are the concerned cleaners, beg your pardon, at the Pelican Mall. And Lord Patches, we are catching hell, and the minister is not addressing these pressing issues at all. But we want Marsha to know that elections soon come. And when she do come at our gate, we'll run her like dogs, just the way she has her incompetent personal assistant treating us, just like dogs. Patches, you want to tell us Marsha couldn't find anybody who has sense and compassion to take this position? Little Bo Peep is tormenting a mother, and now she's tormenting the daughter because of personal reasons. Patches, I hope Marsha can see and know that Little Bo Peep's name will never be on the ballot paper. It is yours and nobody in number 2 likes Little Bo Peep because she is greedy, self-centered, and has no compassion for people. Even for a little ticket to collect Christmas gifts at the constituency party, she robbed poor people of. Marsha, Little Bo Peep is making you look bad, and have you losing votes left, right, and center because we are on the ground and we know what is happening. Marsha, if you want to win back Central, you better do the right thing and shuffle up Little Bo Peep, because you will be in for a rude awakening in a couple months with the voters, because Little Bo Peep says she is not a Labour, she's a PAM. Take that, Marsha. Thank you. Patches reads this email. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, thank you for holding your line.
Good night.
How are you? It sounds like the Bible man.
I'm fine, Patches.
Good to hear you, Bible man.
I have a shocking thing tonight for you.
A shocking way you want to shock me now.
Wow! Yeah.
Huh? Yes.
I am going to read. No, my God, I can't say. You look like he went away.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So the Lord intervene on my behalf, you see?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, my Lord.
Hear what the word of God say. Now, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 13. Yeah. Also, that every man should eat and drink his labor. Every man should eat and drink of and enjoy the food of his labor. That's it, you hear that?
Yes, I'm listening, my brother.
You hear that, Patrick?
Yes, I am listening.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
So, I only share that with somebody. And I am going to Psalm 37. I only get that part of scripture there. So I will read it and digest it because no me says so is God. Listen to Psalm 37. Let not yourself because of evildoers, neither be envious against the workers of iniquity.
That's 37.
The soon shall cut down at it,
yes,
and wither away.
Yes.
Now, in the same passage of scripture, I was young, was 25.
Now
I'm old.
Yep.
Yet,
I haven't seen
neither to the righteous forsaken, nor the seed begging bread.
Yes.
I said, when you lean on the Lord, when you put your confidence in God, God is not going to see you beg your bread. My because 118 Psalms, it is better to trust in the Lord and put confidence in man. Okay. It is better to put trust in the Lord and put confidence in princes. So people, listen to the Bible man tonight.
Okay.
When you put your confidence in God, God is going to see your truth. God is going to open doors for you.
Okay.
And I'm saying tonight to somebody, if you put trust in man, read Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5.
Okay, Bible man. Okay.
And hear what God tell you there.
Got you, Bible man.
So, that is good night.
Good night.
Have a pleasant night, Mr. Patil.
You do the same.
And everything is all right. Everything is all right with you.
I am peaceful. Most things are.
Okay. You understand what the word of God says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3? You understand what it says?
Yes, I'm listening.
Read it, Patrick.
Okay.
Let somebody read it.
Okay, my brother.
A man shall eat and drink the fruit of his labor.
Okay.
When you work hard, Patrick, you're supposed to eat the fruit of you, and you retire.
Okay.
You're supposed to eat and drink and the fruit of your labor. Good night, Mr. Patrick. Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night. That's the Bible man. We always welcome your spiritual interventions. The Premier has been saying, read this email, that if geothermal was in Sandy Point, Keon or Tabernacle, it would have been materialized long time. But because it is in Nevis, no step was taken by his unity government, which he was part of, to ensure it comes to fruition. He has he then tries to underscore his false claim that instead of helping Nevis, St. Kitts started to search for geothermal for themselves, giving a wrong impression that St. Kitts envies Nevis for its geothermal. Mr. Premier, you were given more than enough money by Harris to get geothermal up and running, but you whack off the people's money and cannot account for the money. Harris was right when he told the world that Mark is a bad spender. Look at the millions he has wasted on the hospital, the athletic stadium, etc., and still remain unfinished. The visions you need to make a dramatic change and follow the steps of Anguilla and vote for the Honorable Janice Daniel Hodge, the leader of NRP, when the time comes. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Yes, good night, Patches.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned. I think I heard Dr. Jeffrey Hanley talk about 150 homes, but I would like to know which part of thing is those homes being built. Which corner, which part in the center, wherever. I haven't seen the houses. Not unless, well, maybe he's talking about people who got the land and they build houses for them. So I would like to know where those houses are.
Not even that. Me too. We realize it moved from 100 now to 150. All of a sudden.
Yeah, that's why he said by the round table talk, he said 150 houses. So that they get me point. So I would like to know which part them going to be.
Yes. Maybe lots of people think the same way like you. Don't worry.
Exactly. That's why I want to know.
Yeah. But they have to tell us what happened to the East Coast housing development and Brian Singh. Brian Singh has disappeared, apparently. You know?
Okay, then. Well, they got to get an account. They got to give so. Who is the accountant from who is the counter?
Yes. Okay, my brother.
Yes. All right.
Thanks for the observation. Very good observation. You know, Jeffrey said that there's no loss. He said this yesterday. Was it yesterday? Last week, Thursday. He said
this. As you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
Well, I wonder who has lost any money or who has gained, a matter of fact, because either, if you're doing your accounting, it's either profit or a loss, my straight dog family. And you know, in relation to that, the central bank governor's residence, as someone was making the point about malfeasance, I think it was lawyer Clouden said this. Very interesting perspective.
They're custodians. They have a fiduciary relationship to us, citizens, and they cannot squander the funds that are given to them for investment purposes, transnational investment. Invest in U.S. bonds, invest in Canadian securities and the like. And this is how our currency remains stable. So that Attorney General should look at whether it is possible to introduce some sort of legal action on the basis of misfeasance. This situation that has developed needs to be looked into by regional leaders and determine whether, in fact, a residence, well, it's akin to a palace, befitting for a king, should be used by the governor of the bank. It sends a distorted signal to the population at large, most of which are struggling people, living from day to day on their paychecks, and paying their taxes, and whether their money should be squandered by those who want to acquire the type of extravagant and lavish lifestyle for themselves.
Yes, my Stray Dog family. Someone said it's bordering on misfeasance. Dwyer, I must agree with you. Read this email. There is too much conflict of interest taking place with this new Labour government. As you said, Mr. Dwyer, there is too much talk now about good governance, freedom of procurement, etc. We need action, not mere talking. They criticized the last administration for lack of these same things, and now that they are in control, they are doing worse and without any semblance of shame. Corruption is rampant and systemic in this government. Reads this email. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good night, Patches. How are you tonight?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
I'm fine. You had a good day?
Yeah, good enough. Never get enough time, enough hours in the day.
Yeah, something happened like that.
What about yourself?
Well, quiet day. You know, there was not much a heavy storm. The storm was kind of calm. I spent a lot of time by myself.
Okay.
But Patches, I love your sentiments, what you spoke a while ago about we need to take the bull by the hand and go by that place. I mean, sometimes we had to passive, you know.
Yes.
Other people, they more train us to be passive than to be more, you know, foot going. Demonstrate more ourselves, sacrifice ourselves more for what is right, and, you know, bring the wrong to wrong and put right in front. And when things is wrong, we need to demonstrate things and expose it. And I say that to say this, Mr. Patrick. You have an idea how many drums the guy was to buy for the people of Monkey Hill and Keano, the maximum of drums, the water drums? You have an idea how much for the maximum was?
The Prime Minister said back then 1,000. 1,000. Imagine 1,000 costing $5.8 million. That works out to about 5,800 for each. Like we said, drums, buckets, they call them.
Okay, Patches, I know the company. I know the company in Trinidad.
You do?
I know the company in Trinidad who sell them drums, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those drums they have there, because I had a friend of mine order some drums from Trinidad, way bigger than those drums, $1,500 each, right? Those drums that you have in St. Kitts is 400 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot have a drum here, which is 600 and 800 gallons, over 400 and change. Mm-hmm. And those drums that Alice brought to St. Kitts is 400 gallons, Mr. Patrick. And they brought a pump with them. They don't have a tank. Here we use a tank with a pump. Those pumps are tankless. They shove the water and they automatically cut out. Number one, I recognize that a lot of those drums don't have a slab. You're supposed to have a concrete slab under them. Mm-hmm. And I make to understand he was to build a concrete slab for the drums. And those drums do not have a concrete slab.
True.
So when those drums get some amount of water, they're going to collapse on one side. So I do not understand how Mr. Joe, in his right mind, could condone something like that for the people of St. Kitts.
Sure.
Let that young man get away with $3.something million. That need to be answered, Mr. Patrick.
5 point something, 5.8, not 3.
5.something million with $400 gallon drum cost here about 200 and change.
Right.
Because of the shipments to come to the Virgin Islands. It's crazy.
More than crazy.
How the government could tolerate such a behavior from an individual? He took a lot of money from the Citizens for Investment program and the housing them up there abandoned. Are he giving account for that money, for that project? Then this government turn around again and give him $5.something million again. And only Can and Monkey Hill get it done. What about St. Paul and all those other territories? It is a shame, Patches. So much corruption is constantly demonstrating with these government man, with these government leaders, because they're getting something in the pocket. It is a shame what Mr. Jew has let Mr. Allers get away with. Somebody need to give account for that money, man. Okay, it should not just go down the drain like that. That needs to be investigated seriously. Yeah, I told the patient I did my homework. I called the company Trinidad. Okay? And I can show you the documents them. I asked them to fax something to me for those drums, one of those drums. It is crazy. And I'm not going to stop talking about it until I see some justice and the money give account for $5.something million and only Can and Monkey have the drums. It's a shame. That's my input, Mr. Party, and continue to put the fight. I'm not saying because I'm a Labour, I'm not going to talk out. Wrong is wrong, man.
That's the only how we can change.
They're setting up this guy to exploit the government. He exploit the government and the Douglas. He exploiting the government again and Mr. Joe. Pass the Mr. Patty Allers. We didn't have the government all the time. The one former prime minister and the present prime minister. That's what they're going to continue to do to him, to make him a young millionaire. And some people think he's suffering because they're getting the cutback. Have to stop, Patches. Have to stop.
I am in total agreement with you. Have a good night, my brother. Have a good night as well.
Right.
Okay. And you're so right. It has nothing to do with Labour or PAM. It has to do with, integrity, fairness, good governance, accountability. These leaders in government, July and his team of experts, he called them, they are focused on accumulating power and wealth at the expense of fairness and long-term benefits for the downtrodden in the country in particular. As I said, the hint we have been given by Dr. July and his administration is the system or environment in which they are operating is like a game where the rules are tilted in favor of a few powerful players, like the one you call, I call him Cash the Allers. And my Straight Talk family, the lines are open. I'll take my emails as well. In the meantime, he's going to St. Martin to meet with nationals of the Federation. But up to now, he can't visit Nevis to have a meeting with divisions. But he's ready to take away Nevis' birthright. The towel from them. Is July really the Prime Minister for Nevis? Reads this email. And this email reads, July, what a jackass this man is to give away Nevis's geothermal to St. Kitts. He has sold out the patrimony and birthright of divisions to St. Kitts and Dr. Drew. like Judas who betrayed Christ for 30 pieces of silver, reads this email. Dear Patches, Dr. Timothy Harris remains the most competent and capable leader to rescue our federation from the disaster unfolding before our eyes. The current Prime Minister, who stumbled into office by default, has proven himself to be not just incompetent but reckless, dragging the country into an abyss of economic ruin and mismanagement. Imagine this: rain or fall, yet taps remain dry. Everyday households and businesses suffer from electricity outages. The so-called 600 houses promised by the Trinidad company, a joke, nothing but empty talk. Just like everything else, this administration touches, to be blunt, nothing a go on. Under Dr. Harris, we saw strong financial management, economic stability, and real progress. Today, all we see is confusion, skyrocketing prices, and a government more interested in flashy trips than in delivering for the people. The country is crying out for leadership, not excuses. The people need results, not distractions. St. Kitts and Nevis cannot afford any more of this chaos. It is time to wake up. The longer we tolerate this failure, the worse off we become. Leadership is about competence and results, not personal indulgence. Dr. Harris has delivered before and remains the best hope for getting us back on track. Wake up, St. Kitts and Nevis, before it's too late, reads this email. And this other email reads, my Straight Dog family, it's 9:37. That's 23 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. Patches, as for the Minister of Infrastructure, you know that the thread common to the ECCB Bradsham Museum, desalination plant, the abandoned and budget overruns is political nepotism, nourished by professional naivety and or negligence. Details of all these projects should be in the public domain from inception through design, tender and award, with the recognition, although there will be contractual obligations. Prudence will require that the respective government departments employ project oversight to protect public interests. Being caught flat-footed is its own condemnation, reads this email. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding call. You're live. Hello, caller.
Thank you. Good night, Brother Patches.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good night.
Thank you again, Brother Patches, Mr. Straight Talk. I am humble to listen and was humble to listen all the concerned citizens who has uttered their concern. And as we all hearing, cry, cry, cry. Cry because we are in pain. And when will the pain stop? Who will ease the pain? Well, relief is on its way because good, better, best. Now, for all these corruptions, and I categorically quote, that is going on in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, it is wrong. Too much to mention. Those who are in the kitchen, those who are feeling the squeeze, gonna bawl. And I hear you're bawling. I, for one, Mr. Winston, welcome. Hear your pain, feel your pain, and I will respond to your pain. Should you give me a chance? Should the Federation of the St. Kitts and Nevis give me a chance? People, I am running as an independent, as I quoted before. I rather take my chances in that spirit And I hope you will consider there were misfits, there are recycles going and coming again. Let us get rid of them. My focus is to hear your pain and address your pain. Food security, job security, medical security, educational security. And I mean what I'm saying. And you all can help me with that. Too numerous to mention. Patches, enough is enough. I am calling out to the independents to flood the zone. Let the zone be flooded. You must get a vote. Lessen the vote, lessen the counts of all these misfits who are coming back. Let us have a plain field. Let us not sell votes and let us not buy votes. Let us go to our heart and make a sound decision so we can say, thank you, Lord. I will yield here for now.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your...
Let me add one more thing. Chances are I may not get in. To those who think that they are big, bad, and bold, those who think they can block the street belongs to everyone, and we must have respect. We must have respect for one another, and that's the only way we can have a peaceful community, society, a peaceful nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your intervention. And it just came to mind that I should have thanked earlier a lady from New York. I'm not at liberty to call her name, but she knows who I'm referring to, who gave me a donation on Friday of last week, a donation towards the upkeep, if I can call it that, of this show, your show called Street Talk. I want to thank that lady whose name I cannot call, but I'm sure she's listening. I want to thank you immensely for your support. And like I say to everyone, there's nothing is too small. Whatever you can afford to donate, I just say some people don't like it, but you can just scan that code on your monitors, and it's a very, very simple process. You see, that's where everything is going now. You go to the restaurant, they don't give you menus anymore. You scan the code and you choose from your menu. Just like here on Street Talk, you scan that code and you make your contribution. Dear Patches reads this email. Dr. Drew must think the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are fools. How can he claim he knows nothing about the governor's palace being built just 100 feet from his own home? Are we really supposed to believe that the Prime Minister, who also serves as Minister of Finance and sits on the Monetary Council by default, is completely unaware of a multi-million-dollar project happening right next door? Even from a basic security standpoint, any leader with common sense would want to know who the potential neighbor is. But instead of giving a straight answer, Dr. Drew finds it more convenient to lie, which is why he has rightfully earned the name July. Time and time again, he dodges responsibility, pretends to be clueless, and insults the intelligence of the people. This isn't just dishonesty. It's a consistent pattern of deception and incompetence. If the Prime Minister claims ignorance about a major project unfolding right outside his front door, what else is he hiding? What other deals are being made in secrecy while he plays dumb? St. Kitts and Nevis deserves a leader who tells the truth and takes responsibility, not one who hides behind lies and excuses. Read this email. And that is so true. You could not have said it better, emailer. Because when I asked the question, Drew started to waffle about a mansion, a palace that's going up right next door to him. He said this.
With respect to what you speak about, with respect to the residents, let me say first of all that the central bank, the Monetary Council has a chairperson. The chairperson for the Monetary Council would, speak to issues during their cycle when those issues come up. And so any decisions made is made collectively with all the countries presented to the people of the region, not just St. Kitts and Nevis, to the people of the region. And so I think that they are in a process of making sure that they continue their process of transparency and integrity, and that information that is being sought will be, of course, collected and be given to the people of the region. Let me say, with respect to that, I myself would seek to, I'm seeking to get whatever information, as with anything else that has to do with the central banks.
Imagine my street dog family. He says the decisions are made collectively, as if he's excluded. Collective means all of you, Dr. July. It is one thing to talk about construction costing $22 million, Patches reads this email. But do you realize you have not yet added the cost of furnishing such an edifice? I am sure you have to add another $5 million at minimum. Patches, speak to some of the workers who worked on the site. Let them tell you the number of changes, the number of times walls were broken down and rebuilt. Every time the governor and his wife came on the site, they wanted changes. It was frustrating working there, reads this email. Patches, excuse me, July cannot do anything about Otto Cashley. Cashley was heard saying that he took care of Joe when he was out of power, including an office at the Sands, and therefore July was bound to take care of the Cashley now. Is this email. Dear Patches, did you see the flare at RLB recently? All the experts and tourism on the airport to welcome a little small plane. The whole Caribbean must be laughing at us. Every little thing, a ceremony, ha ha, lol, reads this email. Okay, I'm feeling so good. I've tackled all my emails, and I should not forget the quotation as well that we have for tonight. Power does not corrupt. It is fools who get into a position of power that corrupt power. My straight dog family. And in the event you join me late, tonight we looked at the thesis, which I titled All Fish Rot from the Head Down. And I made the point that we have a rotten bunch in government. Rotten bunch, like I said. Someone made mention, and I made mention as well, about the fallout, for example, with the housing project. The slow student came to the country, making some silly excuses about the government did not lose any money on that 200 or the 2400 rather housing project, housing solution he called it.
As you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
But who has gained? Is either loss or a profit. So who has profited or profited? Slow student. Brian Singh, where is he? Why has he disappeared? Why has he not built even 20 of the 600 houses? Only 2 has been built. 2 has been built in 2 years. When are the other 598 are going to be built for this year? You said 600 per year. That's Straight Talk Family. That's what he said. But in our episode tonight, as we wind down tonight's programming, and those who may have joined me late, in our episode of last Thursday, a matter of fact, recall we debated the topic palaces for kings, not for ECCB governor. And we use as our point of departure the content of a letter penned by the most senior prime minister in the ECCU region, Comrade Leader Ralph Gonzalez. Remember, we shared the content of this letter with our audience. This letter was written on February the 17th to the incoming chair of the Monetary Council, Gaston Brown. And you would have no doubt seen the caption, very interesting caption, a veritable palace for ECCB governor. And that was the views of Ralph Gonzalez. And Ralph suggested that the governor should resign. And he got support from Grenadian lawyer Anselm Clouden, who said this, my Straight Talk family. Clouden said this in no uncertain terms.
I want to endorse and adopt the revulsion and utter despicable actions as expressed by the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonzalez. Thank God he's still around to at least give some supreme guidance to the conduct of such persons when they fall out of line. He's in that tradition, and I wish to adopt his recommendation, having regard to all the surrounding circumstances, that the governor of the bank should tender his resignation.
That's the view of many, that the governor of the bank should tender his resignation. But my Straight Talk family, the incoming chair of the Monetary Council, and this was the last council that met in February, I think it was early February, 4th or 5th, that met at the bank. You've had one change since that meeting, in that Dr. Webster, who was in fact the chair, lost his seat in Anguilla to Cora Richardson, I think it is. And she has now joined the board. But Gaston Brown, we are told, would come in to take over the chairmanship of that board. The board of directors, my Straight Talk family. Strange but true, is chaired by the governor of the bank. But the incoming chair, Gaston Brown, said he was, or the council was caught flat-footed, meaning that the ECCB governor, you can only interpret that, for some justifiable reason, did not report a $22 million expenditure amount on a 10,000 square foot mansion to be used as his residence. But as we understand it, that as chairman, he hid as well the exorbitant expenditure from his board of directors. If all of that is accurate, though, it seems quite possible for the governor and chairman of the board of directors to hide this information from some, but not all of the directors. But whatever he did, we can only conclude that every fish rots from the head down. Our own Prime Minister, just about 40 yards. Someone said 100 feet. They may be right. That's where he lives in Beacon Heights, a gated area, very close to the palace. But when asked, July was chatting as usual, stupidness. He said this.
With respect to what you speak about with respect to the residents, let me say first of all that the central bank, the Monetary Council has a chairperson. The chairperson for the Monetary Council would, speak to issues during their cycle when those issues come up. And so any decisions made is made collectively with all the countries presented to the people of the region. Not just St. Kitts and Nevis, to the people of the region. And so I think that they are in a process of making sure that they continue their process of transparency and integrity, and that information that is being sought will be, of course, collected and be given to the people of the region. Let me say, with respect to that, I myself would seek to, I'm seeking to get whatever information, as with anything else that has to do with the central banks.
Imagine that, my Shidok family. Serves on the council, is not aware that the bank was building a $22 million mansion. He lives next door. Well, if Prime Minister July cannot tell us about the construction of the palace, he must be able to tell us about the land on which the palace is being constructed. Because we are told that 6 lots were bought from the Social Security Board. We were told further that Gums, according to this letter, claiming some $311,000 after paying back what he owed the board of some $57,000. We are reliably informed, or it is reliably rumored, that this check was cut upon the express or exceptional approval of the minister with responsibility for Social Security. So if July does not know about the construction of the palace next door to him, tell us if he knew about the land, and tell us if it is fact that Mitchell Gums went home with $311,000 from that deal. But my Straight Dog family, we heard that there was exceptional approval for that $311,000. What is going on in this country? We have a slow student who told us that we're not going to get the 600 homes or the 2,400 homes or houses anymore. He told us this, but government has not lost any money. He hastened to say this.
As you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
Why would he hasten to tell us that the government has not lost any money? Tell us, where is Brian Singh, slow student? When will he complete or restart the project? Good night, Mr. Liburd reads this final email. What happened to the prison project? It seems like we have to put July and the rest of them in that jail. Also, I think the ECCB governor need to resign. I understand that the prison project has not been provided with the project manager that the government should have provided. They have in fact fired the project manager that was there, Mr. Pemberton, but have not replaced him. You understand? We were reliably informed that Jenkins was appointed by the former chair of the Board of Governors for the CBI, Sylvester Anthony, but he has since moved on. Anthony. You understand that Jenkins has not been given an official letter of appointment. So rightly so, he's not going to sign off on any project. So that has the project in limbo. Investors, I understand, want to move along, but not the government for whatever reason. Everything is just going bad, my straight dog family. But as we wrap tonight's programming, the issues we raise in terms of what I call this game of monopoly. It started for Prime Minister July and Cashley Allers with the 1,000 drums, somebody call it, 1,000 water tanks, and $5.8 million water buckets. The actions of this new administration have been shrouded in secrecy, characterized by a distinct lack of transparency and accountability. And this approach raises significant concerns as it points to an underlying culture of corruption. In such an environment, Dr. July must be held responsible because his poor and questionable leadership directly influences the integrity of the entire administration. The absence of openness and scrutiny leaves room for misconduct, fueling public distrust and frustration. As a result, we must question the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability, and the lack of integrity. And these are signs of deeper systemic issues within the government. And all the arrows are pointing at Terence Michael July, because all fish rot from the head down. And that's my story tonight, my straight dog family, and I am not going to change it. I must leave you with the quotation as well. Power does not corrupt. It's fools who get into a position of power that corrupt power. So my Straight Talk family, I must thank all of you who called, all of you who sent emails, and those of you who just listened, who just viewed Straight Talk. Just remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that I say a big, big thank you. I first of all should thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight and always. And I thank all of you, like I said, all of you. You are the ones who make Straight Talk, and I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spirit, we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday, be good to yourselves, my Straight Talk family.
For taking me safely through the night, for the rest of food and loving care, and for my